And it says we are live. I'm here, your beautiful. It's Thursday night. That must mean, baby, it's time for GotBot Goes live. I, of course, am your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, a.k.a. GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe. And while you're at it, light them up, baby. Ding, because I don't have my bell tonight. Fun fact, I was at work today, and Starscream Wife was actually nice enough to bring down my equipment for me. We're in the midst of, not we, that's a lie because it's her project. She's in the midst of kind of doing a renovation of our upstairs bathroom. So there's like a lot of stuff kind of on the floor and whatnot. So this was sort of to get both out of her way, but it also ended up helping me along the way, which will work out pretty well for you and I here. But neither her nor I remember to grab my bell, so that's why I did the ding. I hope everyone is being safe. Hope everyone is being okay. We all know, of course, the battering that Florida had yet again yesterday. If you live there, if you know people there, if you have family or friends there, and some people in our community certainly live there, hopefully you have come out of it as unscathed as possible under the circumstances, right? It was wild to watch, really, really wild to watch, scary to watch in a lot of cases. Let's see here. One moment. And yeah, okay. Hey, Blue. Wait, hold on. I got to make one more little adjustment here. There we go. Hey, Blue. Hey, Matt. Hey, Razor Bear. Hey, DJ. Yesterday was the 40th anniversary of Thomas the Tank Engine. Who knew? Who knew? Good old Sir Topham Hat. Hey, Sawyer. Hey, Mike. Yeah, definitely rough down in Florida for sure. Hey, Fire Prime. Maximal 10. Okay, we're not going to waste any time. We're going to kind of jump into the news. There's not actually a ton of news tonight. The couple of main things like the Haslab Omega Prime update. We'll talk a little bit about that. Some Takara listings. We'll talk a little bit about Newage, a little bit about some of the one concept art. And we'll do trivia. We'll do our unboxing. We'll get out of here. It should be, I hope, a fairly straightforward night. And we're going to kick things off, my friends, with this first. This is some concept art that was shown for Transformers 1, both the backgrounds and some of the characters. Now, I'll say this, tformers.com actually got some different images, especially of Megatronus, which we'll talk about a little bit when we get there. I'm going to just go through these fairly quickly. I mean, the backgrounds are nice. The shading and whatnot is nice. I mean, this was done, I think, by ILM, which are, renowned as a pretty top company. Whether you like them or not is a different story, but I mean, they have a reputation. And I mean, like, it's hard to argue with the beauty of the backgrounds as we go through here. Again, I'm not trying to kind of belabor any of this concept art. I did put up a discussion for patrons and channel members about explicitly why, objectively, not subjectively, objectively, one is the best film in terms of narrative structure, in terms of pacing. And when I say narrative structure, I actually mean like, introductory of characters, introductory action, rising action, climax, falling action. There's a science to writing, and it follows it in 3 different acts, right? So like I talk about kind of the structure of it. Now, of course, somebody, one of my patrons channel members, now I won't identify by name, had to reply that 86 is still their favorite, and that's fine. 86 subjectively is my favorite, but objectively, it can't hold a candle. It just can't. And I said, it's silly to even make that comparison. He said, so the themes of consequences of war and leadership are silly. And I said, yes, if you're talking about it in context of 86, because when we talk about consequences of war, why did the war last millions of years if it was able to be decisively finished in one battle at Autobot City? Why didn't you just do that from the beginning? So I never really understood why all of a sudden they could do that. I get it. I know that it's because in movies you can do what you can't do on a cartoon. But nevertheless, the second was leadership. Yeah, okay, so in that film, you had one leader, Megatron, who became like a sniveling little representation and, in essence, a slave to Unicron. So that's not very much leadership. And Optimus, the great leader, died. Gave the Matrix. I think it would have been way better if they had just let it go to Ultra Magnus. That was the logical choice. Even Optimus thought that was the logical choice. Instead, they gave it to Hot Rod, who never ever grew. Now, I'm not going to argue about it in the comments. If it's there, I'm not even going to reply to it. He did not grow. All anybody ever says when I say, give me facts where he grew, they say the bird and hardest bear. He didn't grow 1 ounce in that episode, not one thing. What leadership qualities did he get as a character and make a part of his personality? The answer is 0. Now, that's why. That's my problem. If you're going to say this stuff, back it up with facts. Back it up with actual examples. If you can't, then don't say it. That's all I'm saying. If you make a claim, you need to be able to back it up, not with opinions, not with your little subjective opinions. You need to be able to back it up with proven facts. Now, looking here, again, just flying through. Yeah, okay, B, we've seen that. Orion Pax, we've seen that. Megatron and D16 and stuff. This is, pardon me, this is Alphatron. This is where I wanted to go. And this is really the only one I want to focus on. This, of course, is the concept art for Megatronus. And while this is very interesting and a very interesting different take on Megatronus, there's a few things here that I note. I look at the way the legs are modeled, and I get very strong vibes of the Bumblebee movie Shockwave. Then I look at the head sculpt that's obviously Tarn-esque. Then I look at this trident, and this trident reminds me very much of like Piranacon or King Poseidon from G1, Japanese G1. And if you go to T-Formers, there's more concept art where you actually see the fusion cannon on his right arm. And the way that that fusion cannon on his arm looks, the way it attaches, reminds me very much of, this is a deep cut, the Transformers animated Megatron leader class Earth mode fusion cannon. It looks really similar to that. I think that this is an example of a character in this film that has nods and Easter eggs to little tangles all across the 40 years of the franchise. And I don't know if it happens with everybody, but I feel like it really happened with Megatronus. This is the Starscream. Very similar design, really, to the Bumblebee movie Starscream, honestly. Very similar design. So if you like that design, this is really close to it. I could easily see, like, you look at that Tetrajet alt mode there, and I could easily see them repainting, slightly remolding the Bumblebee movie Tetrajet mold to give us something like this. And not for nothing, that Tetrajet mold is pretty excellent. I know it looks weird, but it's really, really excellent in both modes with a fun transformation. Of course, I use part of that as my version of Liege Maximo. So there's Soundwave with that weird, like, Bumblebee movie. He's a ship. Like, he's a nothing. Shockwave, I like this Shockwave. A lot of G1 nods here for sure. Not G1, but a lot of G1 nods. And this ship here reminds me very much, again, talking about homages to different things. I look at this ship, and my immediate thought is the Fall of Cybertron, War for Cybertron films, right? Or not films, games. This looks like that, War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, Deluxe class Shockwave, which I love. A bit small, but I do love it. Again, some background here of a really kind of a flourishing, beautiful Cybertron, not something that we usually see. So let's get out of that. We've talked enough about it. And let's move on to this, my friends. The other big piece of news, this, of course, is the Haslab Omega Prime. I remember when this was announced, and a lot of people, myself included, thought, man, this is RID 2001. Is this thing going to back? I was flabbergasted that this thing not only backed, but it backed the any Haslab and the most of any Haslab. Blew me away. Is that orange juice?
Yeah.
Is there anything mixed in with your orange juice?
No.
Okay, I didn't know. You were having like a screwdriver or something. I didn't. You never know with you.
Orange juice.
You never know. Even Starscream Wife, who just went along the back there, even Starscream Wife watched some of the video with me and said, man, that's really cool. Like, even with the Ultra Magnus, she was like, I don't know that Ultra Magnus. It's not, her Ultra Magnus, so to speak, but she's like, it has enough hits that, like, if you ask me to just guess who this was, I would probably guess Ultra Magnus. He's white, he's blue, he can carry cars, but let's talk about it here a little bit. So, this one is actually an excellent value because you have two gigantic offerings here. You have the Optimus, which is quite large in and of itself, and then becomes the super mode. You have the gigantic, really, Ultra Magnus. You have a deluxe-ish size now edition that was just an accessory with the original. And of course, you have the Star Saber and whatnot. Now, as we go through, again, I'm not going to show necessarily everything. Oh, we do have, of course, Cerebros here too. So if, like, the RID Fort Max is your Fort Max, you can get a version of Cerebros to go with even your Titan Fort Max, which, was just recently re-released again. Just saying. So I think it's a nice little nod. It's neat that can go stored up under the front there. Again, and again, you can see a lot of this for yourself. I'm not looking to belabor it as we go through the images here. Nice that all of that opens. But really what I want to get to is this. Of course, as you would expect, the front and the back split. The front transforms very similar, not the same, but very similar to the original. And the panels actually move back on the arms so they don't hinder the wrists. Love that. Really love that. What I don't like is I do feel like the windows on the chest are a little too wide apart. I think that the original, having them a little bit closer, nailed that a little bit better. I feel like the chest is a slight bit off on this one. The base mode looks great. Again, I'm not going to go right through the transformation here. Let's get down to, say, about here, right? Say about here. So you can see, like, I mean, it's a great looking Optimus. Obviously, no paint apps here. The blue, he mentioned specifically that the blue on the head is all going to be paint. That should be metallic. Same with the arms. We're going to have some back metal stuff on it. But again, if you look at the chest, like, I feel like the red in between is a bit, I don't know, it's a bit too much for me. But now that being said, if I was in for this, that wouldn't deter me. I would be like, minor gripe, because everything else about this just looks so fantastic. So good. Again, we go through some transformation steps and whatnot to get kind of to that, like, base mode thing. With the arm up, it goes off screen here. And of course, he puts the bits and pieces on the side as well. Now, going down, I also thought that it was very neat. I think this might show it. It might not show it. Does that show it? I'm trying to find something specific here. Well, I mean, let's talk about this for a second. And I guess I can just mention it here. Obviously, this is a little bit bigger than what we had originally. And we all know that the original is quite large. So this is bigger than that again. The value for the money, man, is here. I got to say, I think it's the closest value to money we've ever had for a Transformers Haslab. And this looks very close. It is bigger, better articulated. But here's the other thing. The torso, when you extend it to keep it somewhat solid and be able to carry more of the upper body weight, it actually has a couple of other extra tabs and stuff that lock in on the back, which I think was very smart because it's going to make the Haslab that much more solid. And I think that the original was pretty solid, but I think the Haslab is just going to be a little bit better. If you have the original, do you need the Haslab? I don't think so. You can if you're really into RID 2001 Optimus. If you don't have the original, I think this was the way to go rather than trying to hunt the original down. But that's just me. Then we go all the way down, and of course we see, again, right here, as you can see, there is a car. I think that's actually Sideburn put in there. And it's cool. Again, Ultra Magnus, being a car carrier, can carry a car inside. I would reckon 2, possibly 3 on top, but definitely 2. But when we go down again, we see that the cab comes off. The lower body does become the gigantic legs, as you would expect if you know the original. And then finally we have this, and I know that the proportions look wonky, but like he went through the articulation and like it's all there. The range of motion is there. I thought that I was going to be really bothered by the big by the big like shins and calves, and by the big forearms. But you know what? I thought that on the original they were as surprisingly well articulated. I think they're even better articulated here. Really though, this is a very, very impressive take on RID 2001 Ultra Magnus. Next to each other, they're both huge, as you would expect them to be. Then as we go down, we can see again holding the accessory, right, which is the third deluxe class man, so to speak. And like even he, yes, he's spindly, but like he seems like a fairly tall, decent deluxe. Granted, kind of long, dangly arms, but considering he really turns into an accessory for Ultra Magnus, I'm not angry about this at all. I'm really, really not. Like, I think it's, again, the articulation's all there. It fits in aesthetically with that kind of weird RID design. I think the pack looks very tremendous together. I really do. And of course, if we go way, way down, because again, this was an hour-long video that Evan did. I'm just not interested in an hour-long video. I mean, there's Omega Prime. Look at the size of that guy next to a Voyager. The Voyager, Earthrise Optimus. We all know that he's a modern-sized Voyager. You can see the Hound there, which is the same size as Detritus. It's the same size as the Siege Hound, right? It is what it is. I still really stings that I don't have that Hound. Really, really stings that I had that sourced and the guy just didn't live up to his word. I digress. If you look at the Omega Prime, not only is it for sure double the size here, but look at the mass. Just look at the size of Earthrise Optimus's thigh next to the thigh of Omega Prime. You know, look at the shin of Earthrise Optimus next to the shin of Omega Prime. Take the Ultra Magnus boots off and just have it be the shin of the Optimus. The shin of the Haslab Optimus. Gigantic, even next to a modern Voyager. I feel like that this is bigger than Leader Class, to be honest with you. Commander Class? Maybe bigger than Commander Class. And again, that gigantic sword, if you have a Fort Max, you could also give it to Fort Max, the display base. There's a lot to this. Super duper duper, really, really impressive. And I thought it was a well-informed video, honestly. I don't read the whole crowdfunding thing, but if you're going to make the math make sense, this is the way to do it, for sure. Let's check in with you guys here a bit. I know you've been talking, and I wanted to get through those two big pieces of news right away because they're the biggest pieces of news. And I'm only going to skim stuff here. Transformers by Voltron. Transformers are only made $97 million, officially a flop. Well, no, it's like, I love that people are like Marcus just said, Transformers 1 only made $97 million, officially flop. Okay, first of all, no. The budget was 75, it's made 97, so it has turned a profit. Secondly, there's lots of countries where it's not even released in theater yet. This is only North America and Canada. So let's wait until the worldwide numbers come in. Thirdly, it's going to go to digital and streaming. So a lot of people that didn't want to see it in theater will see it that way. In the end, through all sources, to be deemed profitable for a sequel, the magic number that they're looking at is 150 million. Very attainable, considering most of Europe doesn't have this yet, and I'm pretty sure it's not out in Japan yet. This is what they've made in North America. And the only reason they made that little is because fans ruined a good thing by complaining about it. And you know what? If fans keep complaining like that, they're going to end the franchise. They're going to put it on the shelf like they did with G.I. Joe. I feel like, and I hate to say this, but I feel like our fandom is becoming as toxic or more toxic than the reputation of Star Wars fans. And that's a sad way to be, honestly, for something you're supposed to love and enjoy. As we go down here, hey, Eyes. Hey, Blue. Crazy that they got ILM to make a fully animated Transformers movie. Quite pleased with it. Not only that, no humans in it. That's the best part. It's all bots. Everything that's character driven is not character driven by a human. It's character driven by bots. Again, let's revisit like the leadership theme. Alita 1 craves it. Orion Pax has it thrust upon him. And Megatron seizes it, right? Like you have 3 leader paths that get explored here. It's really brilliant. And ILM did a beautiful job at bringing it to life. Now, I admit that the rounded nature of some of the design stuff, that might not hit with people. I understand that. I kind of wish that they were a little more squared off. But I do like the more organic faces because that's very G1. I mean, in G1, they even had teeth half the time when they'd be laughing and stuff, right? Why they had teeth, I don't know. But they did. The fans literally shot the movie in the foot. Exactly what Marcus said. Let's see. Hey, Dragonfly. Send me a picture of an interesting Optimus you see a target by Super 7. I mean, Super 7's done a few interesting Optimus. I'll have to look after I don't have my phone with me. It's actually charging. Hey, Jay. Got Commander Optimus from Target. Fantastic, isn't he, though? I'm just curious, Jay. Were you lucky enough for the heels to be okay? I heard of one poor dude who doesn't only have the heel problem, but one of the heels is completely lacking the paint apps. And though I don't see what he sees, he says he has 2 left ears. I'm not sure how you would know that you have 2 left ears. I thought they were just the same molded piece, but whatever. But I will take a look, Dragonfly, when I can, buddy. You and I need to share a stream one day to debate all of this, my friend, to debate the growth of Rodimus and the growth of Rodimus. I wouldn't be able to have a serious conversation about that because he didn't grow, not in one way. But by all means, I'll ask you right now, Matt, one way. Tell me one leadership trait that he embraced and said, man, this is it. This is what makes me a good leader. Because I have given and you know what? Not only have I given innumerable examples of how bad he was and then how much he's failed, I can give more. If you want me to, I can continue to give more and more of how he's failed over and over and over. Should have been Ultra Magnus. Should have been Ultra Magnus, man. I love the design for Megatronus. Me too. I thought it was a great Megatronus design. I'd be cool if we got a figure of that. Yeah, stay safe on the road, Dragonfly, buddy. You need facts to back up what you say. Well, you need facts to back up what you say. I guess you won't be getting a job with Donald Trump. You know, by the way, you're not going to see me active on Twitter for the next week because I've been banned because I made a comment about that orange-faced moron. And apparently Twitter didn't like it. It went against their community standards. I don't care. I don't care. I really don't care. Give me that Megatronus. Yes, Manitoba got it, man. He absolutely got it. Hey, Tony. Megatronus was also more obsessed with gaining energy and returning to Cybertron. By the movie, he had completely stopped caring about strategic victory. Well, Megatron was also more obsessed with gaining energy, yes, and returning to Cybertron. By the movie, he had completely stopped caring about strategic victory. Yes, and he turns into like a bloodthirsty tyrant. Yeah, basically. I also picked up Reactivate Bumblebee. Pretty solid. Was that the Studio Series 1? I've heard that it's great mold. I thought it was a great design for that Bumblebee, honestly. Hey, Timmy. Reminds me of Siege Shockwave's alt mode. I could also see how it would remind you of Siege Shockwave. I was thinking more for Cybertron, but I agree with you. Yeah, it could be Siege Shockwave too, for sure, Master Fire. We go down here a bit. Again, I'm skipping some stuff, guys, so I apologize for that. That Omega Optimus should have been main retail. I mean, I don't. I could see doing an Omega Optimus at main retail. It wouldn't be this one. It's too big. I think if you did it at main retail, I guess you'd have to do it as 2 commander classes. That's the only way. 2 commander classes and a deluxe and a Titan Master. I don't know. I don't know how you could do it at mainline retail in this case. 2 commander classes. No base, no sword, no Cerebros. 2 commander classes and a deluxe would get you basically, I think, what you need. Hey, Lion. 3 weeks until TFCon. As a matter of fact, let's talk about that a little bit now. Again, I'm not excited by any of the TFCon stuff. People do all these countdowns. I don't care because, again, it's not that I got anything against it. It's just I can't attend, right? Now TFCon used to just do 1 show. Now they do 4 or 5 a year. And people are like, it's great. I bless your hearts if you can go. I'm excited for you. But I mean, I'd love to. I'd love to be there with you guys, but it's not realistic. But let's talk about it for a second. So let's start off with the bad news first. Anybody who had a VIP ticket for Peter Cullen, apparently he will not be attending TFCon Baltimore. He had to pull out. Those will be refunded. But Frank Welker's VIP treatment, whatever, pass, will be going ahead. No word on why Mr. Cullen had to pull out. Let's certainly hope that it's nothing too serious. Again, you never know at these ages, which is something else that when I talk about things like voice actors and voice acting and stuff, I would never in a billion years want to have any of our beloved voices change. But we've had to learn to live without Chris Latta being Starscream for a lot of years. And eventually we're going to have to live with a different Shockwave. We're going to have to live with a different Grimlock. We're going to have to live with a different Optimus, a different Megatron. It's just the way of the world, right? One day there will have to be other people that can take that mantle, whether they homage the original voice actors or somehow make it their own. I guess we'll see how the franchise goes. But he has to pull out. That's a real shame. However, don't be dismayed if you're going, because recently announced is Michael Charles Hill. Of course, he wrote things like Killing Jar, Return of Optimus Prime, The Gambler, Burden Hardest to Bear. He will be at TFCon, as will Travis Arts, who was the voice of Cyberverse Hot Rod. And I feel like there was somebody else that I had noted here. Let me just double check that. Or was that the only 2? Nope, I knew I had someone else. And Doug Parker, he was the voice of Tidal Wave, and in Beast Wars, he was the voice of Pterosaur. He's also going to be in Baltimore. So, you still have some very excellent guests from different eras, right? A G1 writer, Cyberverse Hot Rod, Beast Wars, and Unicron Trilogy covered a little bit with, Pterosaur / Tidal Wave. I think that's really neat. I should Megatronus have the Requiem Blaster. I thought the same thing. I really did. And I don't know if his cannon on his arm would be an arm-mounted Requiem Blaster. I don't know, but I did think the same thing, Marcus. For sure I did. Take care, Matt. You're getting 4 figures. You are getting 4 figures with this one. You're right, Master Far. Hey, perhaps a dog. Wait, a Canadian. Bless your heart. Actually, a sincere statement. Wow, that's an interesting difference. It is. It really is. Although it's funny you say that, because my dad used to. I don't think he's going to do it anymore because it's just too expensive. But he used to snowbird, and he used to come back with a lot of stories about a lot of retail stores. And bless your heart comes up a lot. I don't know why, but it does. The Bumblebee movie one, not the one movie. Hold on. I hold on. I'm definitely down a bit too far here. Hold Why don't I paint detritus? Because the paint's going to rub off. That's why. The paint will absolutely rub off at some point, and that would be a shame, honestly. And it would have to be like a full body paint job. You could do it, but since I actually use mine and it's not just to put on the shelf and never touch, I need it to be able to convert. I hope it gets a sequel, and once it hits Japan, it'll make bank. Oh, Japan is going to gobble Transformers 1 up. The seed does not need what? The seed does not be a tree in a day. That's true. That's true. I painted detritus into 07 movie Landmine. Interesting. I was hoping TFon would come out in Steelbook, sort of fitting for Big Bot. I agree. One hasn't opened in the UK yet. It'll make its profit there too. It hasn't opened in, is it Czech Republic or the Netherlands? There's a lot of places it hasn't opened yet. One is really good, says Jay, and he's right. Again, Snell, you're not talking facts. You're saying $97 million flop. No, it's not done yet. It's still making money. That's where it's at. And it's already made $22 million in profit. Like, you're not talking facts. If you can't speak facts, then don't speak. In the future, I'm going to say this now on my channel for everybody to hear. In the future, if I see comments that are foolish and silly, I'm deleting them. If you can't back up what you're saying with facts, don't comment. It's really as simple as that. TF1 is great. Seen it 3 times, and it's honestly my favorite. I mean, I've seen it twice so far. I'm 100% I'm going to own it. Cybertronian Dental Plan. Ultra Megatronus, you're going to have what? Check Best Buy and okay, you guys are talking about that. Rodimus Prime did grow in height. You're right. He did grow in height. Planning to go what? Planning to get a B127. I mean, I think you mean Badassatron. And paint it into what? Roz the Robot from the Wild Robot movie. Okay, I don't know Roz the Robot. I've heard of Wild Robot. I haven't seen any of the promotional stuff, so I don't really know it yet. Only thing I liked about Rodimus Prime is the design. He's a useless character. I mean, people love the character, and for some reason they say they associate with him. I didn't. Even at 10, I was like, this guy's really irresponsible. That was 10-year-old me, because that's when I first got introduced to the character. And I was like, I don't like this guy. It's not actually my first reaction was, I don't like this guy. It's not Optimus, and he's irresponsible. And I was 10. That hasn't changed in 36 years. I don't get a Netflix Optimus. What? I don't get it. Netflix Optimus literally makes everything worse for everyone, and you give him a pass, and you still act like Hot Rod is worse. Hot Rod is worse because Hot Rod didn't ever grow. Netflix Optimus didn't make anything worse for anyone. He did what he had to do out of desperation. I have no idea why anybody has the hate for him that they have. I don't think he's a great Optimus, but I understand that he's an inexperienced Optimus. And one might say that Hot Rod is an inexperienced leader as well. That's true. But if we go through Siege, Earthrise, and Kingdom, I feel like by the end of Kingdom, Optimus was a better leader than he was at the beginning of Siege. I'll say this, the best leader in the Netflix series, even though he's brutal, is Megatron, by far. He not only rules with an iron fist, but he realizes that to accomplish his goals, he has to make some very hard, palpable, unpalpable choices. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go back and read the comic books, but you might be right. Bumblebee is friends with what? Bumblebee? I don't know what you guys are talking about, but okay. Rodimus not only didn't grow as a leader, he went backwards to the point he gave the Matrix to a zombie and was happy about it. But he is AA-tron. I don't know what's AA-tron. I don't know what AA-tron is. Take care, Master Fire. I tried drawing an Ultra Magnus head for my math graphing project, but my teacher said that would be a lot of equations for the points. Probably, probably. Nice idea, but how long would it take you to do, right? I see Rodimus as Optimus in his early days. After the battle in the hangar at the start of the Third Cybertronian War, the Golden Age was the twilight in the Unicron battles. I don't even know what you're talking about, but okay. At least Rodimus didn't doom Cybertron like Netflix. How did he doom Cybertron? You couldn't leave the Matrix, or you couldn't leave the Allspark on the planet, because if Megatron got it and gave it to Shockwave, Shockwave was going to reformat everybody to become a slave. So what were you going to do? It had to go away. Now, do I think it was reckless to randomly throw it in space? Yes. Do I know what would have been a better option? No. But then again, I don't lead an army, do I? Let's go back here to this. Ain't that a cute little thing? Now again, it's not for me. I'm not into like this kind of. I think this is like cosplay size type of stuff. This is a Transformers One Matrix, and some decal stuff. But like that's a big like human sized Matrix. It's cool. Dragonfly actually found a different Matrix that seems more G1 to me. I don't know. If you want a Matrix, if you like cosplay stuff, I don't think like this one doesn't light up or anything. This is obviously a cheaper one. There are ones that do have lights and LEDs that are better. But if you want something for budget just for display, I mean, this isn't too bad. And I guess if you really wanted to paint the rim silver, it could look a lot more G1, right? Then we have this thing. Again, the pre-orders have gone up for it. And like, not for nothing, I'm not going to say much about it, but like, I love the texture detail here. I don't know Monster Hunter. I don't know this character, so it means nothing to me. But I think it looks cool. I don't know either if this has gone upsized any from the pterosaur mold, or if it's like still that deluxe size. If it's deluxe size, $50 US seems high. If it's upsized to be more Voyager scale, maybe that's a little more reasonable. I don't know. It's not for me. I think it looks neat. And not for nothing, since we're kind of talking about like crossovers and collaborations, what about this? Okay, so I think that it's pronounced Naruto, but I don't know because again, this is one of those things like I've seen the name, I know literally zero about the franchise. I don't know if it's a video game, a show, comic books, and I don't care because this is some of that Japanese anime stuff it's not for me. I'm not interested in it. This is obviously an adaptation of two of the Kingdom molds, most notably the Cheetor mold that I think is utter garbage. So I wouldn't be in for another of that. And I'm sure the little lad there that turns into like a frog or something. And you guys will know this. I'm sure Masterfire knows it. He knows everything about anime stuff. Is obviously an adaptation of like if it's not the Rat Trap mold, then it's the Tasmanian Kid mold. Adapted. Neat little mold, I guess. I don't know. If you like, this franchise and you think like, I think it looks good. I think it's molded fine. I really detest that Cheetor mold. And putting more kibble on it is not something that would attract me. But, I mean, to each their own. If you like this, then you know what? More power to you. And we have this, which I think is interesting but not surprising. That's right. New Age Romulus is coming out with, of course, a toy accurate deco, toy accurate head, as New Age always does. How long do you think so? It's funny that we talked about the comic book top 10 characters that could have the comic book treatment last week, because Number one was Megatron. And like, how long do you think it's going to be before Newage does a comic book version of this mold for Megatron? I bet you it's coming. I bet, just knowing Newage and how much they like to repaint stuff, I bet you it's coming. This looks neat. Again, I'm an animation accurate guy, so that's the one I would like if I was in for getting either of these. You can see that this guy does come with a face that could be like the animation accurate Megatron, but with the toy accurate body. Again, it turns into the Walther P38. Like it's a great looking mold, very impressive. Looks tremendous next to Earthrise Optimus. The aesthetic seems to match. Very, very impressive. Like, I mean, look at that. Like, really impressive. I don't know. To each their own, I guess. I kind of wish it was a little bit bigger to be able to go with the 86 a bit better. I mean, it'll work if you kind of bend them at the knees a bit and mash it a bit. It'll work, but I also feel like their aesthetics are a bit different. I really feel like the aesthetic of this Megatron really matches Earthrise Optimus, or I suppose Siege Optimus if you really wanted to. And we have this. Yeah, my friends. We have here a number of Takara offerings. We're going to see that in just a moment. Let me just go up here. I have no knowledge of Monster Hunter. No, neither do I. Why not wear a dragon, right? Looks kind of neat. I like the crossover, but the Naruto one is a big fat pass. Why did they think killing Optimus was a good idea? I don't know. Well, it's not that they thought it was a good idea. It's that they thought this is a changing of a product line. That's what Flint has said. Flint has actually said, we didn't know anybody was invested in this. This was just like one big commercial. We were taking out one product line and introducing another. And then people hated what we did to the point where we had to bring Optimus Prime back. That's how much people didn't like Rodimus Prime. They had to bring, because of fan demand and outcry, had to bring Optimus back. Because here's the thing, there was no plan to ever bring him back. And then fan outcry brought him back. And then when it went to Japan, Japan said, yeah, no, we're not bringing back Optimus. And they killed him a second time in Japan. It was brutal. Brutal. Naruto Transformers, no. Okay, I'm surprised. I've never seen Naruto. All right, I thought that was going to be a bigger hit with some of you guys than it is. There's definitely a pass. Interesting. You have messed up AA Tron. Go to. I don't know what I don't know what AA Tron is. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Whatever that reference is, I'm missing it. I'll take that as a every company likes to repaint stuff. Oh, don't they ever? Japan eventually brought him back in 91. Well, yeah, kinda. You're right. Yeah, kinda. I was hoping to meet Peter Cullen. Yeah, a lot of people were lying. I'm hoping that it's not something serious. Is all. That's all. So we know all of these. I'm just going to go through them real quick. In Japan, Takara is going to be putting out, of course, Lockdown. He looks fine. We've seen this a bunch of times. It's fine looking Lockdown using the Junkion mold. Again, we've seen all of the little core class lads. I do like that he comes with his axe and has new dedicated feet and hands. He's still too small, but neat. And again, if I wasn't lucky enough to have the fans project, I would 100% have a desire for this. 150% actually. Then there's this. A lot of people kind of bent into shape about this. This is a complete box set of Menasor. This is toy accurate deco. You can see, for example, the detail on the pelvis. You can see the gray thighs as an example here, right? The reason that this bends a lot of people out of shape is because so many people did not get breakdown. Again, here you can see, not so much in the truck, though the line on the side you see it with, but definitely in robot mode. Oh, sorry about that. It's too dinky. Yeah, a little bit. Definitely in robot mode. You can certainly see here some of the detail, like on the chest and stuff. You can see the different color of the arms than the animation, the accurate one. Same here. This is very close, but a little more detail on the chest. More red lines here, basically. Now, this is what really, kind of peeves a lot of people because not only is this now toy accurate, but look on the window on the side. They added a couple of paint details to at least make this very Ferrari-ish looking alt mode seem somewhat like a Lambo with at least the Lambo windows. They're trying to fake it till they make it. But somebody like myself, even that bought the mainline release that doesn't have that detail, it's a bit of an insult, honestly. Again, we've seen all that before. Also, very late to the game is Studio Series Mirage coming out in Japan. Weird. But I think it looks better than the one that came out here. It looks a little more matte to me anyway. It doesn't look as silvery shiny, and I think I prefer it, honestly. And of course, I can't believe that Japan doesn't have this yet. Commander Class Optimus. Need we say more? I don't think we have to. Hopefully theirs are assembled correctly. Man, he's magnificent, though. And Agent Knight. Mine's not coming until December. A lot of people got him. Seems like he's pretty popular. And Party Wallop. Again, you talk about, stuff being done its run. No, man. Not when you got to include the Asian markets, especially Japan. And a lot of times China tends to be late with getting stuff, too. So, yeah, interesting. And for the news, we're going to end the screens with this Super 7 VHS Megatron. So I mentioned last week with the Optimus, I believe it was, that they are replacing Ultimates with a more budget-friendly line. It's going to be the VHS versions. You will notice, for example, with Megatron here, he's a perfect example. So you can see, like, he has elbows, he has shoulders, he has knees, he has hips. Like, the articulation that you would expect with Ultimates apparently will be intact. So I hear. But look, do you see any accessories? It's just the bare minimum, right? The accessories and stuff have been cut out. You're getting Megatron. If you like the look of this, and I'm sure he displays great, then cool, go for it, I guess. Okay, let's see what we've done here. We talked about the one concept art. We talked about, Skybound is going to have a New York Comic-Con panel, by the way, and some exclusive covers if you're going to New York Comic-Con. 86 Optimus out in the U.S. at many targets. It was first reported in Davenport, Iowa. The Omega Prime video. Culture Fly. They're doing Transformers 1, Matrix and decals. The Matrix and decals that I showed earlier, that's by Culture Fly. We already talked about. Oh, we didn't talk about this. Legacy. Okay, so 86 Optimus was first seen in Davenport, Iowa. Also out in the U.S. is Legacy. The Legacy wave with the Deluxe Optimus, Quake, and Slipstream. That's been seen in Florida. And Gamer Edition Ratchet and Transformers 1 Megatron have been seen in New Jersey. So all of these new waves coming out in the U.S. We talked about TFCon stuff. We talked about the Monster Hunter stuff, the Super 7 Megatron, the Takara listings, the Naruto crossover, Blokees Action. I meant to have a screen of this. The Blokees Action Megatron. There are some renders of that up. That looks pretty neat, honestly. Hold on here. That looks pretty neat, honestly. Newage, we talked about. China, the company Reese, are doing plush keychains. They're kind of like cutie chibi versions of the heads. So plush cranial keychains. I think I got that right. Of the heads of Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Megatron, Hot Rod, Soundwave, or Shockwave. And they look very anime-esque, Cyberverse-ish. They're cute. They're cute. It's as simple as that. Let's do the trivia, my friends, and then I'll check in with you guys while you're giving the answers to this one. How big is Unicron's diameter? So, as a planet in planet mode, how big is he? Is he about the same size as A, Mars, B, Jupiter, C, Neptune, or D, Saturn? Is he about the same size as Mars, Jupiter, Neptune, or Saturn? I'm going to check in with you guys while you guys think about which planet Unicron matches best. Let's see. It's anime about ninjas, I think. Okay, that would make sense. The crossovers, Tony says both of those crossovers are already on BBTS for pre-order. You guys are doing a pass on a lot of that. We did have a Transformers Pokemon crossover called Transformers Armada. That's cute. They had no idea Optimus was so beloved, and they just wanted to refresh the toys. Yeah, Tony said it there. Hey, Ash. I sent you the video on your messenger for you to check out later on, so you understand what I meant by Aatron. Okay, I it's hit or miss if that's going to work. A lot of times I find whatever's up with my messenger, videos just keep loading and don't play. But I'll give it a try. We'll see. That Megatron has the box art head, which is kind of cool. Yep. Did you forget to take your med, Sovereign? Every company likes repaint. Yep, we saw that. We go down here. Yeah, they replaced him with Ginrai and Fast. They did, and I suppose they did technically bring him back later as Star Convoy because that's Optimus Prime really too. But I guess at the time they weren't ready to bring him back in '89. I guess. I'm still going to pass on Menasor. That's fair. I need Motormaster. I'm trying to sell Breakdown. I would be shocked if somebody didn't buy Breakdown off you. I originally passed on Menasor due to yellowing. I didn't know that there was yellow. Oh, yes, there was some yellowing on the trailer. You're right. I forgot about that. Mine hasn't, but you're right. There was. There absolutely was. By the way, Sovereign, I noticed I was looking at my blaster, and guess what? The, I guess, pelvis, the hips, are just slightly starting to yellow. I'm not sure if his buttons on his tummy are starting to yellow, but I could paint those gray. I'm not concerned about those. But it took a lot longer. I remember yours really yellowed, and I was like, strange, mine hasn't. But I just noticed the other day, just a touch. Just a touch. So I'm probably going to paint the buttons. The leg things, I don't care about that. Party Wallop was 29 on Prime Day. Party Wallop is pretty good. I've heard good things. I don't know. I haven't seen a review or anything. I don't like that. It's like red without even extra hands. Yes, it is. You're right. I'm going to New York Comic Con next week. There you go. What's that? Does anyone have an empty water jug you can spirit change save up? Any Ross shoppers find Transformers? Only the Bumblebee movie toy. Last I said, okay. A Mars. A Jupiter says. Fire Prime. C. A C. Q. Uranus. A Saturn. Jupiter. We have a B. We have a C. Deuce Piccolo. My answer was wrong. E. The object buttons. The 86 Blaster doesn't seem to be changing so far. Well, that's good. 86 Blaster may have fixed the plastic. Maybe they did. The answer is B, Jupiter. He's about 140,000 kilometers in diameter. Crazy. Okay, my friends. Now, this week's unboxing. I'm going to say this. This comes totally from our buddy Casey. Pretty sure that's Heathen. If I'm mistaken about that and I'm wrong, I apologize. But it came from our buddy Casey. A while ago, I got the 4-pack of, what was in that 4-pack? The Tarantulas and the Cyberverse Tarn. And I said then that that's more Perfect Decepticon because Cyberverse Tarn is actually missing an arm. The Perfect Decepticon clones of him were not. I think Cliff Jumper was in that pack and Squeeze Play. And at the time I said, man, I have this and now I have this. I have a Perfect Decepticon. I'd really, really, really like to be able to have another one to flank him. And Casey sent another one to flank him. I would love to have a full DJD done. And who would stand up against Tarn when he can clone himself? He can make clones of himself. He's already a bad dude. And now I love this. But that's not all he sent me. He also sent me a huge thank you to him for this. And this along with let's see, next week, tomorrow is going to be the other animated Optimus, the Earth mode one, the Voyager. Next week will be Steeljaw. That's not good. It's so not good. I sprung for premium, see no ads. So did my wife. That's all right. I still get a little cut of that. Just saying. But I digress. Next week will be Steeljaw, who's not great, and I think it's going to be Farak. I have not seen any Faraks in my province. None at any of my Walmarts. I haven't seen any Voyagers. I haven't seen the leaders. I've only seen the deluxes. So as best as I know right now, this is the only Farak in my entire province. I will talk about him next to Cyclonus. We will do the conversion going the other direction from playing back. We will talk about what's newly molded and whether or not this guy is as good, if not better, than Cyclonus. And that's it, my friends. We are done once again. Woo! I'm going to say this now, too. Here in Canada this weekend, it is Thanksgiving. I wish you and yours all of the blessings, all of the joys, all of the great things that you deserve in life. That's what Thanksgiving is about, right? Here, it's about being thankful for, the harvest. It's about being thankful for, a good haul for the winter. It's about being thankful for the sun, for the ground, for the rain that allowed you to have a good harvest. All of those natural things about the people and the things around you, just like you guys. And on that note, I thank you for dropping by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. Even when we argue, it's still fun. At the end of the day, it is what it is, right? But especially, don't forget, not for a moment, not for a second, you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.